Welcome. Thank you for joining us for this presentation on the 2025 Global Threat Report. We have entered a new chapter in the cybersecurity landscape, a period we define as the era of stealth, speed, and identity. Today, we will explore key insights into the evolving tradecraft of modern adversaries. Based on the latest data from the CrowdStrike 2025 Global Threat Report, we will examine how these shifts in attacker behavior are reshaping the way we approach defense and resilience. Let us begin our analysis of the trends that will define the year ahead.
We are witnessing a fundamental shift in the cyber threat landscape. Today, the adversary is increasingly logging in rather than breaking in. The era of traditional malware is fading as attackers transition to sophisticated hands-on keyboard techniques. These methods allow adversaries to blend seamlessly with legitimate user activity, making detection incredibly difficult for legacy security measures. Speed has also become a defining factor. Breakout time, the critical window from initial compromise to lateral movement, is now measured in mere minutes and seconds. The data from 2024 tells a clear story. 79% of detections were entirely malware-free. This highlights a reality where legitimate credentials are the primary weapon, requiring a shift in focus toward real-time behavioral analysis and identity protection.
Theme 1 addresses the identity crisis, highlighting that valid accounts are now the primary vehicle for intrusion. In the past, attackers utilized the old way, relying on traditional brute force attacks to break through security barriers. Today, we face a new reality, where adversaries leverage info-stealer logs and session cookie theft. This evolution allows threat actors to bypass multi-factor authentication by hijacking active sessions. Consequently, the attack appears to be authorized work, allowing intruders to operate undetected within the environment.
We are seeing a renaissance of vishing, where sophisticated high-tech security is increasingly bypassed by low-tech social engineering tactics. This attack sequence typically unfolds in 3 stages. First, the attacker initiates spam bombing, flooding the victim with notifications to create a sense of panic and distraction. While the victim is overwhelmed, they receive the help desk call. In this stage, the attacker impersonates IT support, claiming they can fix the perceived technical issue. Finally, once trust is established, the attacker guides the victim through an RMM installation, using legitimate remote management tools like Quick Assist or TeamViewer to gain full access to the device. Looking at the data for 2024, these vishing detections have surged dramatically. While numbers were relatively low during the first half of the year, we saw an exponential increase starting in September, leading to a staggering 442% rise in detections between the first and second halves of the year.
Theme 2 explores the AI multiplier, focusing on how generative AI has significantly lowered the barrier to entry for sophisticated information operations. This multiplier effect manifests first through AI-enhanced deception. Threat actors are increasingly utilizing deepfakes and voice clones for business email compromise schemes, while also producing polished, error-free phishing text that is difficult to distinguish from legitimate communication. We have also seen groups like Famous Cholima create highly convincing LinkedIn profiles using AI-generated profile images to establish false trust. The effectiveness of these tools is underscored by a critical statistic. AI-generated phishing emails have reached a 54% click-through rate, a dramatic increase compared to the 12% click-through rate of traditional human-written emails. Beyond deception, AI drastically improves operational velocity. It enables the rapid development of exploit scripts and facilitates automated vulnerability scanning, allowing attackers to identify and exploit weaknesses with unprecedented speed and efficiency.
Moving to our third theme, cloud consciousness. We are observing a strategic shift where adversaries move laterally from the endpoint directly to the cloud control plane, accessing SaaS applications like SharePoint and Outlook, conducting data extortion, and establishing long-term persistence. This trend underscores the evolving nature of the threat landscape, where the focus has expanded from the device itself to the management layer of the cloud environment.
Corporate data repositories represent the soft underbelly of SaaS environments, as they are often unmonitored and vulnerable to exploitation. Adversaries like Scattered Spider have mastered the art of systematically searching compromised SharePoint and Outlook instances to fuel their extortion demands. By running simple queries for terms such as password manager, VPN, salary, or network architecture,
threat actors can easily locate highly sensitive information. We also observe tactics from groups like Atlas Lion, who leverage compromised credentials to perform internal smishing campaigns using legitimate SMS applications. This internal positioning allows them to manipulate employees and deepen their foothold within the organization's infrastructure.
Supply chain risks are increasingly moving upstream, targeting the very tools and environments developers use every day. As traditional defensive perimeters strengthen, attackers are shifting their focus toward exploiting the trusted software within our local development stacks. A prime example of this evolution is documented in CVE 2025-48384. This vulnerability involves a configuration file parsing flaw that occurs during a recursive Git clone. By leveraging this vulnerability, an attacker can perform arbitrary file writes, specifically placing malicious scripts into the .git/hooks directory. Because Git hooks such as post-checkout are designed to execute automatically during the standard checkout process, simply cloning a malicious repository can lead to immediate and silent malware installation. This case study underscores a critical reality. Our development environments are no longer safe havens. They have become primary frontline targets in modern cyber warfare.
To understand the threat landscape, we must identify the different adversaries operating behind the screen. We categorize these actors into three primary groups based on their core motivations. First is e-crime, where the driving force is profit. Groups such as Scattered Spider and Curly Spider specialize in ransomware, data extortion, and what we call big game hunting, which involves targeting large, high-value organizations for significant financial payouts. The second category consists of nation-state actors, motivated by espionage. State-sponsored entities like famous Cholima from North Korea and Panda Groups from China focus on intelligence collection and infrastructure pre-positioning. They have also become increasingly active in cryptocurrency theft to support state objectives. Finally, we have hacktivism, where the primary goal is disruption. These actors focus on information operations and sowing political division. Their activities often involve denial-of-service attacks designed to draw attention to specific social or political causes.
Strategic Pivot 1 focuses on hardening identity. If we accept that identity is now the modern perimeter, we must determine the most effective way to build that wall. First, we need to move beyond SMS-based authentication. SMS-based MFA is far too easily bypassed through social engineering and SIM swapping. It is no longer a sufficient defense for high-value targets. Next, we are moving toward the adoption of phish-resistant MFA. By implementing FIDO2 and hardware keys, we can proactively block vishing and adversary-in-the-middle attacks. These hardware-backed solutions provide a much higher assurance of identity than legacy methods. Lastly, we must focus on verifying the caller. We need to limit help desk privileges and implement strict verification protocols for password resets. This ensures that our support channels cannot be exploited to gain unauthorized access, completing our defensive strategy for identity management.
Moving to our second strategic pivot, we focus on cloud and data visibility. The core philosophy here is that you cannot protect what you cannot see. To achieve this level of oversight, we are prioritizing three key areas. First, we are implementing runtime protection, or CWP, to detect attacks occurring in real time, rather than relying solely on identifying static misconfigurations. Second, we must regularly audit SaaS configurations through SSPM. This involves a consistent review of permissions and external sharing settings within critical platforms like SharePoint and Outlook. Finally, we are committed to monitoring data egress. By tracking data movement, we can detect exfiltration attempts and intervene before a breach is complete.
Our third strategic pivot centers on the AI-native SOC, built on the principle of fighting machine speed with machine speed. At the heart of this transformation is Charlotte AI, which utilizes generative AI to streamline threat hunting and accelerate incident analysis. This technology acts as a force multiplier, lowering the barrier for junior analysts and enabling them to perform complex tasks with confidence. To further enhance efficiency, we are unifying our consoles to eliminate the swivel chair effect. By consolidating data protection, identity, and endpoint security into a single view, we provide a cohesive environment for our operators. Lastly, we are evolving our threat intelligence. By integrating detailed adversary profiles, we can anticipate tradecraft and shift from a reactive posture to one that is truly proactive, stopping attacks before they manifest as alerts. As we address the security challenges of 2025, we must prioritize 5 key areas to harden our infrastructure. First, we need to enforce phish-resistant multi-factor authentication by adopting FIDO2 and hardware keys. Traditional MFA methods are increasingly vulnerable, and hardware-backed solutions provide the robust protection required to secure our identities. Second, it is imperative to audit our cloud and SaaS permissions to implement the principle of least privilege. By ensuring that every user and service account has only the minimum access necessary, we drastically reduce our risk profile and limit the potential for lateral movement within our environment. Third, we are expanding our employee education programs to specifically address sophisticated social engineering, such as vishing and help desk impersonation. Empowering our staff to recognize these human-centric attacks is a vital layer of defense. Fourth, we must maintain high standards for technical hygiene by patching critical development tools. Specifically, remediating Git CVE 2025-48384 is a top priority to maintain the integrity of our software supply chain. Lastly, we are shifting our detection focus toward behavioral analysis. As attackers transition toward malware-free intrusions and living-off-the-land techniques, the ability to detect anomalous patterns of activity becomes the most effective way to identify and stop advanced threats in real time.
George Kurtz, the CEO and co-founder of CrowdStrike, emphasizes a fundamental truth in cybersecurity. Security starts with knowledge. This highlights that our defensive capabilities are only as strong as our understanding of the environment and the threats within it. As Kurtz notes, with knowledge comes resolve. That deep insight provides the clarity and determination needed to act effectively and decisively. This philosophy underpins a proactive security posture, one where we must constantly prepare for the unexpected, adapt to emerging challenges, and maintain a tireless commitment to defend our digital assets.
To conclude, the insights shared in this presentation are derived from a combination of reputable industry reports and intelligence briefings. Specifically, we have utilized the CrowdStrike 2025 Global Threat Report, along with their technical analysis of the CVE 2025-48384 Git vulnerability. We also integrated findings from CrowdStrike Intelligence regarding AI-powered identity protection and referenced excerpts from the Virginia Fusion Center's 2025 Global Threat Report. This material is provided for informational purposes, reflecting the threat intelligence landscape as documented in 2025.